Hello, this will be a simple entity framework demonstration using an MVC4, using ASP.NET, Visual Web Developer Express. So, what we'll do is, first of all, let's get our entity framework through our library package manager. Look at that. And this is the latest version recommended by Microsoft. As we can see, it was last updated about 10 days ago. Excuse me. So we'll install this. Okay, accept the terms. And moments later, good to go. Okay, so we've got our references. Yep, looks good. So let's start out by creating a model. So we'll add class, and we'll call it transportation. And I'm just gonna, before I create this, I'm gonna do something simultaneously. I just want to clear my browser so it's easier to demonstrate and I don't have all this stuff cluttering my address bar. So we create a transportation class, and this will be the class for our transportation model. Okay, and we'll say public int ID and our auto implementing function, and these would be essentially the fields that we'll be accessing through with our database, or in our database. String transportation type. Okay, and we'll be coming back to this class momentarily. So let's just pin our Solution Explorer open for the time being. Let's create we're going to create another model we'll be using for our entity framework. Transportation context. Context add. And here we'll be extending the entity framework. Context is the name of this class. Context. Okay. So we can find this. It'll know that it's in the system data.entity namespace. Okay. Boom. And then we'll use db set list on our transportation type. And this is how we'll access the data. So our transportation type. We better say public, just to avoid problems. Okay, so our transportation context class extends db context through the entity framework, and we access the data through this db set as a transportation type, essentially. Okay. Now let's create a controller. And we'll need to transportation controller. We'll need to add some web config settings and some global AX code. Okay, so essentially here we'll have to access our data and pass it to the view. But we want to more easily access our models namespace, and this project is EF1 models. Okay, so we can access transportation context, and I'm just we'll use the same name. It's declaration in lowercase to differentiate equals new transportation context. And yeah, so then we can say our transportation type, we'll say trans type equals transportation context dot transportation. Yes. Okay, and this will be some LINQ, which I honestly need to do a little bit more study on. This is how we're going to access, oops, let me get this out of the way. This is how we're going to access our transportation type by ID. So we'll say TT type is going to equal TT type equal to the ID that's passed by parameter. So we'll have to take a parameter here, an integer as an ID, and let's call this data, so we can demonstrate strongly defined fuse. This looks a little strange here. That is because, why is that? Transportation. Equals ID. Well, let's build this. We'll want to pass this. I'm going to make this lowercase, the transportation type, to the view. Okay, so we'll have to make some adjustments to. We'll do this next to our web config and and our global ASAX file. But this here, interesting. Let me see. Our transportation type int ID. Oh, my bad. I guess I better say what. Yeah, what ID? There we go. Okay. Ugh, excuse me there. It's late in the evening for me now, or early in the morning, I guess I should say. Okay, with this being said, let's go and define our connection string in our web configuration file. Now, I'm not going to use the providers. I'm actually going to add a connection string, and I have this here in my notes on the side, just so I don't have to go through all this typing this out. But hey, it's a basic connection string. There's the provider name, there's the name of the server, as you may have seen in some of my other demos, and our sample database. Okay, fairly straightforward there. Our global ASAX will need to add some code here. Base, and we'll need to basically set an initializer, and this is a component. Oh man. Or any framework, and the IDE knows system.data.entity. Okay, and boom, that namespace is now being used. So our set initializer on our it's going to be, our project name is EF1, oops, and this is our model that we want to set transportation context, okay, and null because we have our database, okay, and we don't want any other type of initialization going on in our application. Okay, so that's that. With that being said, let's create our view now in our controller. Add view, and this might not be correct. Okay, we've got to build this so that our transportation class is accessible. So let's try to build this again, or create the view again. And there we have it, transportation. Okay, so we're creating a strongly typed view on our transportation model. Boom. And there we have our Razor syntax on our CS HTML. So, at model transportation type. Now we can pass an ID by parameter and get our types, which is going to be a car, a boat, and a plane. Now we have to tell our model, transportation model, what data table to use by specifying a table attribute. Table transportation. Okay, and there's a schema for this. I'm using component model data annotation schema. So let's just run this. So transportation data 1. Now we don't have a router. I think this is because our router is set up to run. It may be some other reason, but I think it's because our router is set up to run the whole model. And it's not. Okay, so this is probably a spelling error somewhere. Let me look. Okay. Stop this. Let me just take a look at my spelling quickly. Take a quick look over stuff. Things here. Transportation. Yep. I apologize. My notes were wrong there as we named the class differently as we created it. So now should be the appropriate connection string. Shouldn't need that provider. And let's try this again. And there may be more issues now that I think about it. Hopefully not. We're good. Okay. I said that just in case it didn't work. No, okay, so if we hit 2, type in 2 as our parameter, we should get a boat. It's just taking a little while to run here. Oops. Yep, there's our boat. And 3 should be another item. Okay, and one, car again. Okay, so there's the basics of Entity Framework version 6.1. Thanks for watching. See you soon.